The morning sun poured through the glass walls of the city's tallest financial tower, painting the marble floors with golden light. Hundreds of people rushed through the lobby, chasing deadlines and dreams, but one small moment was about to change two lives forever. A worn leather bag lay forgotten near the elevator, unnoticed by everyone except a single father who had almost nothing left to lose. Inside that bag was something worth millions. But what he discovered would test not only his honesty, but also reveal a truth that would leave an entire city speechless. Before we begin this emotional journey, if you believe kindness always finds its way back, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who still believes in humanity, and subscribe to Soulful Tales too. Your support helps us bring more heart-touching stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Every weekday began the same way for Elias Mercer. Before sunrise, he carefully prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Nora, in their tiny rented apartment. The walls were old, the furniture mismatched, and the refrigerator was rarely full, yet laughter somehow managed to fill every corner of their little home. Ever since Nora's mother passed away after a long illness 3 years earlier, Elias had carried the burden of being both father and mother. He never complained, even though exhaustion had become his closest companion. He worked long hours as a maintenance technician in downtown office buildings, fixing broken lights, leaking pipes, and malfunctioning elevators. Every paycheck disappeared almost instantly into rent, school fees, groceries, and hospital bills that still haunted him from the past. Nora was the reason he kept moving forward. She dreamed of becoming a doctor, one day because she wanted to save families from losing the people they loved. Every evening she would study by the window while Elias quietly repaired old household items to earn a few extra dollars from neighbors. Despite the hardships he had taught Nora one lesson above all others. A person's true wealth was measured by the honesty in their heart. That particular Tuesday seemed ordinary. The bright summer sun warmed the city streets as Elias finished repairing an air conditioning unit on the 26th floor of the prestigious Hawthorne Financial Center. Employees hurried in every direction, speaking on phones and carrying expensive briefcases. As Elias walked toward the elevator to leave for lunch, something caught his attention near a polished marble bench. A dark brown leather bag rested alone on the floor. He looked around. No one appeared to be searching for it. At first he assumed someone would return within seconds, but several minutes passed while the busy crowd flowed around it without noticing. Elias carefully picked up the bag, hoping to find an identification card. The bag felt unusually heavy. Curiosity tempted him for only a second before responsibility took over. He slowly opened one compartment. His heartbeat nearly stopped. Bundles of neatly stacked cash filled one side. Another section contained official-looking documents marked confidential. Beneath them rested a small velvet box containing a sparkling diamond necklace unlike anything Elias had ever seen. Tucked inside was also a worn photograph of a smiling little girl standing beside an older gentleman. For a brief moment, fear rushed through him. That amount of money could erase every debt he carried. It could buy medicine, secure Nora's education, and give them a home of their own. But another voice echoed louder inside his mind. What belongs to someone else can never become your blessing. Without another thought, Elias carried the bag directly to the building's reception desk. Security officers immediately surrounded him after seeing the contents. Cameras recorded every movement while managers rushed downstairs. Within minutes, the building's owner arrived. His name was Alaric Vaughn, one of the country's youngest billionaires. Newspapers described him as a ruthless businessman who trusted numbers more than people. Few employees had ever seen him smile. When the security chief handed him the recovered bag, relief flooded across his face. He checked every compartment carefully. Nothing was missing. He quietly thanked Elias, but before leaving, something inside the bag made him pause. The photograph. Alaric gently picked it up, staring at it with trembling hands. His expression changed completely. The confident billionaire suddenly looked like a grieving father. The little girl in the picture was his daughter, who had passed away years earlier from a rare heart condition. The photograph had become his most treasured possession. The money and jewelry could have been replaced, but that photograph never could. For the first time in years, tears formed in his eyes. Instead of simply rewarding Elias and walking away, Alaric invited him upstairs for coffee. During their conversation, Elias spoke honestly about his life. He never exaggerated his struggles or asked for help. He simply explained how every decision he made centered around giving Nora a better future. Alaric listened quietly. He had spent decades surrounded by wealthy investors, lawyers, and executives, yet very few people had spoken with such sincerity. Meanwhile, Elias noticed something unusual about the billionaire's office. Despite its breathtaking skyline view, expensive artwork, and luxurious furniture, it felt empty. There were no family photographs except the one from the bag. No laughter, no warmth, only silence. As Elias prepared to leave, Alaric handed him a generous cash reward. To everyone's surprise, Elias politely accepted only a small portion. He explained that he had not returned the bag for money. Taking more than necessary would make him feel as though he had sold his honesty. The room fell completely silent. No one had ever refused Alaric Vaughn's generosity before. That evening, Alaric couldn't stop thinking about the humble maintenance worker. The following week, he quietly began asking questions about Elias. He discovered glowing recommendations from supervisors, neighbors, teachers, and local shopkeepers. Everyone described the same man: dependable, hardworking, and deeply kind. Even more touching were stories about Nora. Teachers shared how she secretly packed extra sandwiches for classmates who forgot lunch. Neighbors remembered her reading books to an elderly woman who had lost her eyesight. Without realizing it, Elias had raised a daughter whose kindness reflected his own. For the first time in years, Alaric wondered whether success meant more than building billion-dollar companies. Several weeks later, Elias received an unexpected invitation to return to Hawthorne Financial Center. Confused but curious, he arrived wearing his only formal shirt. Inside the boardroom, executives waited alongside Alaric. Instead of discussing maintenance work, Alaric presented an entirely different proposal. He wanted Elias to become director of community outreach for the company's charitable foundation. The position included excellent pay, health insurance, flexible hours, and educational support for Nora. Elias was speechless. He had no university degree in business, no executive experience. Alaric smiled gently. He explained that integrity could not be taught in classrooms. Leadership built on compassion inspired people more than titles ever could. Elias accepted with tears filling his eyes. Life slowly transformed. Nora transferred to a better school while remaining the same cheerful, humble little girl. Elias continued greeting janitors and security guards with the same respect he once received. Employees soon noticed something remarkable. Workplace morale improved. Volunteer programs expanded. Scholarships reached struggling families. Food drives doubled. Instead of treating charity as public relations, Elias personally visited shelters, hospitals, and schools to understand people's real needs. His compassion became contagious. Months passed. One sunny Saturday, Alaric attended a community event organized by the foundation. Children played under colorful tents while volunteers distributed books, meals, and school supplies. There he saw Nora helping younger children tie their shoelaces and comforting a frightened little boy, separated from his parents. Watching her, Alaric quietly realized something. Money could build buildings. It could purchase companies. It could create luxury. But only love could build human beings like Nora. As the years unfolded, Hawthorne Foundation became known across the country not for the wealth behind it, but for the lives it changed. Thousands of scholarships were awarded. Medical treatments were funded. Families found hope again. Whenever journalists asked Alaric what inspired this transformation, he always shared one simple story. A struggling single father once returned a lost bag without expecting anything in return. People often assumed the surprise inside the bag had been the money, the diamonds, or the confidential documents. They were wrong. The greatest discovery, hidden inside that bag, was proof that genuine honesty still existed in a world where many believed it had disappeared. That discovery changed a billionaire's heart forever. Years later, Nora graduated from medical school. During her speech, she thanked her father for teaching her that character always outweighs comfort, and that every honest decision plants a seed whose harvest may not appear immediately, but will always come. Among the audience sat Elias and Alaric. Neither tried to hide their tears. One had given away a fortune by choosing honesty. The other had discovered a fortune that money could never buy. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Soulful Tales, too. Your support allows these meaningful stories to reach more hearts around the world. Special request. Before this story ends, please comment with one word. Honesty. If you believe doing the right thing is always worth it, even when no one is watching. As the sun set over the city that evening, Elias walked home beside Nora just as he had done countless times before. The skyscrapers still stood tall, traffic still filled the streets, and people continued chasing success. Yet somewhere among those busy crowds lived a simple truth that no amount of wealth could replace. Kindness may seem invisible in the moment. Honesty may appear unrewarded, and compassion may feel unnoticed. But every selfless act creates ripples far beyond what our eyes can see. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't finding treasure inside a lost bag. Sometimes the real treasure is discovering that one honest heart has the power to restore hope, heal broken lives, and remind the world that goodness is never truly lost. And in the end, that was the richest legacy Elias Mercer could ever leave behind.